Pompey's Pillar in the Yellowstone River Valley is a remarkable sandstone butte 150 feet in height, an outcropping of the Hell Creek Formation. Long ago, dinosaurs big and small walked there. Much later, people arrived. In the native Crow language, this rock is called Ishia Anakhe, which means the mountain lion's lair. The first white man to visit here in 1805 was a Canadian named François Antoine Larocque. His daily journal describes a whitish perpendicular rock upon which was sketched with red soil a battle between 3 on horseback and 3 on foot. 10 months later, the famous Captain William Clark arrived, heading east on his return journey to St. Louis. He journaled, "This rock I ascended, and from its top had a most extensive view in every direction." He also observed, "The natives have engraved on the face of this rock the figures of animals, etc., near which I marked my name and the day of the month and year." Clark and his crew often carved their names in rock or branded them on trees along their route, but this right here is the only physical evidence that remains of their expedition. Many more explorers, merchants, and military men would follow. Freedman James Pearson Beckworth lived among the Crow and recalled how one time, as soon as the Indians finished trading, I directed them to the Yellowstone as far up as Pompey's Tower, saying I would join them in 4 nights. He continued, "Then as soon as I could, I loaded 12 pack horses with goods for retail, and taking 2 Canadians with me, I went and joined the village at the appointed place." This proves that the pillar was a point of rendezvous. The Crow frequently made camp in the vicinity. Chief Plentycoo, later in life, related how in 1859, when he was 11 years old, one night in early spring of that year, when our village was near Mountain Lion's Lair, a young brave named Bear in the Water had a dream in which he saw a band of flatheads far to the west. In 1863, James Stewart and his party visited Pompey's Pillar, and he was the first person to mention seeing Clark's autograph alongside the names of 2 of Clark's men, Sergeant York and Private Shannon. He also writes of seeing large buffalo herds from atop the pillar. Later in life, Crow medicine woman Pretty Shield remembered camping near the Mountain Lion's Lair in 1864 at age 8. Her people were there to hunt the large buffalo herds that Stewart had seen the year before. In 1873, the Yellowstone expedition reached Pompey's Pillar, comprising 350 civilian surveyors for the Northern Pacific, escorted by more than 1,000 soldiers. Accompanying them is official photographer William Pywell, who takes the first known picture of the pillar. In 1875, the steamer Josephine, on her maiden voyage, brings a crew of 37, along with several Smithsonian academics, and 107 soldiers commanded by General Forsyth. The steamboat captain, Grant Marsh, journals that he has seen Clark's autograph and finds it as clearly defined as when chiseled there by the illustrious explorer 69 years before. The next year, with Sioux rebels conducting guerrilla war in the area, Colonel John Gibbons encamps at the pillar with 450 cavalry. Several of his men note seeing Clark's signature, in their journals. Lieutenant James H. Bradley, commander of Scouts, writes that Clark's name appears as distinctly as when graven there 70 years ago. But a cavalry vandal today disfigured the inscription, carving his own name over the letter K. For that, he deserves to be pilloried. In 1882, steps were taken to preserve the carvings from further damage. Colonel J.B. Clow, engineer with Northern Pacific, covered the inscription with a heavy iron grate. In 1955, Stella and Don C. Foote actually bought the whole butte for the sake of preserving it for posterity. They removed the iron grill and replaced it with a see-through frame of shatterproof glass. Because of the persistent advocacy of the Footes, the pillar became first a National Historic Landmark in 1965 and finally a national monument in 2001. So it is now entrusted to the rangers of the National Park Service, such as local Bighorn girl Sunny Beth Hope. Great service has also been provided by the Friends of Pompey's Pillar, who raise funds and also volunteer as tour guides. People like Hank Deming of Billings and his wife Kate, both of whom volunteered for 12 years, and Dr. Stephen Kramer in retirement, and local Custer boy Steve Roth. Finally, due thanks go to the 50,000 visitors who come each year filled with enthusiasm and respect. I am talking about you, my student Mike from Billings, about you, Abbot Trifon and Monk Paul from Washington, Mary Bernadette from Bighorn and granddaughter Angie, Russell from Forsyth, Father George from India, Bishop Johannes from the Netherlands, Devin from California, Father Julian from North Dakota, Jacqueline Ann from Hardin, Charlie and his dog Sparky from Billings, the sisters Baylin and Tayla, Martin and Mary and Sandy and Brian and Mary of Billings, Cynthia from Seattle, Teresa and Russell and Maria and Patrick from Minneapolis. Our whole lives are a voyage of discovery from beginning to end. So I thank you, the viewer, for exploring this video to the very end. If you have enjoyed it, please click like and subscribe buttons. See you next time for another Montana memory.